This is ABC15 Mornings.
Election Day is just 6 days away.
We're rounding that beautiful turn, and it's going to be very good.
President Trump and Senator Harris both in Arizona today.
And we're going to get this done.
For some, it's an election causing uncertainty.
I have never been so conflicted in an election in my whole life.
Plus, the coronavirus not affecting everyone.
The pandemic may as well have been like a decade ago now.
The housing market is on fire. But are we hitting a bubble that could burst? Also, we unwrap the hottest toys for the holiday season.
And strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
And after a 32-year drought, the Los Angeles Dodgers are once again World Series champions. A lot to celebrate for Dodgers fans for sure this morning, but there is a coronavirus twist. If you weren't watching the game, that does have a lot of people concerned. We're going to get you through all of it today and hopefully wake you up with a great start. Kaylee O'Kelly here in studio for ABC 15 Mornings. My friend Nick Saletti, social distancing from the newsroom.
Hey, good morning, Kaylee. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Let's talk about that most accurate forecast because you are going to feel it when you step outside today. It is chilly. It's going to wake you up. Meteorologist Iris Hermosillo standing by in studio, social distancing right now. Iris, lay it on us. How cold is it getting?
Right. The moment you step outside, if you don't walk out with a sweater, the cold might catch you off guard. And like you said, Nick, kind of wake you up here this morning. Temperatures are down to near 40 degrees across many spots in the valley. We even saw temperatures dip into the 30s briefly in Wickenburg. And I can't completely rule out that we won't see more 30s in spots like Gilbert and the Santan Valley as temperatures get a little colder because we're still going to drop a little bit further as we approach sunrise. Our temperature right now, though, 43 degrees in Chandler. It's 45 in Ahwatukee and in Peoria. Deer Valley, good morning. You're waking up to 45 degrees and down to 40 in the Santan Valley, also in Wickenburg. So sweater weather for your morning walk out, the door, or for your drive into work. Maybe you'll even crank up the heat. And look at that temperature at Phoenix Sky Harbor, officially down into the 40s too. It's already cooler than it was at this time yesterday. Our temperature, but our temperature this afternoon, rather, will climb into the 70s. So we're going to start off colder, but we're going to end up milder, a high of 72 degrees. And Chelsea, I think the chilly weather is causing me to stumble a little bit here this morning, but we're going to get through the day together.
Oh, absolutely. I do that all the time. It's just normal in my house. And it's good if people have those warm-up seats too in their cars. You can have a hot hiney making your way into work or wherever you're headed. So that's always nice too. All right, we're watching the accident log group traffic maps. East side of town, we have mostly green flows for our valley freeways. State Route 347 southbound into Maricopa is a little slow, but that's pretty normal for this time of day. No reported crashes there. North Valley, clear conditions, green freeways for I-17, the 303 Carefree Highway. I-17 southbound at McDowell, we have a crash, so that's why you're seeing red before you get to the stack. Give yourself extra time there. Also from the west side, so if you travel southbound on Loop 101, on that ramp to connect you to eastbound I-10, you'll see this. Take a look at our ADOT cam. All the activity is off to the left shoulder now, but you're going to be traveling around 20 miles per hour. So give yourself extra time. The desert drive time between the 101 right at that point to get into downtown Phoenix through the mini stack is 21 minutes. So factor that in, and I'll check back in with you guys in a few.
Okay, Chelsea Davis for us. Thank you very much. This morning, the state has revised guidelines on when schools should suspend in-person learning because of COVID-19. According to the new guidance, the state health department says schools should move back to virtual learning if all three benchmarks move to the red substantial category. Now, the original guidance published in August said if one of the benchmarks moved to red, schools should be remote. The health department says the change is to be consistent with the benchmarks for businesses. Now, we talked with a member of the Scottsdale Unified School District Governing Board, and he says the new guidance doesn't necessarily impact how they decide to close the schools because they work on a case-by-case basis.
Also looking at whether there's spread in the schools. Where do we, contact the spread? Is it during out-of-school activities? Is it during athletics? What would be the least restrictive means of limiting the spread of COVID on our campuses?
The state benchmarks are only recommendations, and the districts have been working primarily with county health departments. We will find out later this morning if our upward trend of cases will continue. More than 1,100 cases were added Tuesday. The increase is a nationwide issue. As the CDC shows, our rate of new cases this week is below 35 other states. The percentage of tests coming back positive also rising, now reaching 10%. It's been above the 5% threshold for more than 2 weeks.
Happening today, the civil trial is scheduled to begin in the false arrest lawsuit filed by the man once charged in some of the freeway shootings that happened back in 2015. Leslie Mayer Jr. was jailed for 7 months on charges in 4 of the shootings. His case was dismissed after ballistic evidence against him was criticized. No other arrests have ever been made in this case.
Well, both presidential campaigns keeping their focus right here on Arizona. President Donald Trump and Vice Presidential candidate Kamala Harris will be here in our state today. I want to show you a live look. This is Goodyear, where already people are lining up waiting to hear from the president later this afternoon. We do want to bring in our Mark Thompson right now. It's clear we are a crucial swing state. The candidates are hoping to win. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Kaylee. Absolutely. Presidential politics taking center stage and playing out right here in Arizona. We got some new numbers for you. A new OH predictive poll right now shows the Democratic ticket up just a little bit, 49 to 46%. That is within the margin of error. As far as the candidate, Senator Kamala Harris, she's going to be making stops in Tucson and in Phoenix. She's going to be speaking with Latina business owners in Tucson. Then she's going to come here to Phoenix to meet with a group of black leaders. This is her second trip to Arizona this month. As for President Trump, this will be his 7th visit to Arizona this election cycle. He's going to be holding a rally in Bullhead City before hosting a rally at the Goodyear Airport. We just showed you some live pictures out there. People bundled up in the cold hours ahead of his visit. On the campaign trail on Tuesday, President Trump claimed that COVID-19 cases are heading down.
Florida had a rough time. Boom, it's back. It's all the way down. Texas, all the way down. Arizona, great governors, all the way down.
And we will make sure that first-time home buyers have a $15,000 tax credit for down payment and closing costs, knowing that is the best way working people can have intergenerational wealth.
Now, the second half of both tickets also making stops in battleground states today. Vice President Pence, he's going to be in both Michigan and Wisconsin today. And then Democratic nominee, of course, Joe Biden, he's going to be headed to Florida. Florida and Arizona, both really key battleground states, and it's all coming down to the wire. So that's why these candidates are making stops here in Arizona. Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC15 Arizona. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you for that. And by the way, if you still have your early ballot, you're being advised not to put it in the mail. The Postal Service says they can't guarantee now that mail-in ballots will be delivered in time to be counted. You need to take it to an official ballot drop box or voting center, and you can do that anytime until the polls close on Tuesday, November 3rd. It's hard to believe it's almost here. And to find those spots, I think there's at least 90 of them here, just go to arizona.vote.
6:07 on this Wednesday. In 2008, the late Senator John McCain topped the Republican Party ticket. 12 years later, Cindy McCain has endorsed the Democratic candidate Joe Biden. For one lifelong Republican here in Arizona, McCain's endorsement of the opposing party was what he needed to vote outside of the GOP for the first time in his life. Here's ABC 15's Carla Navarrete with his story.
To me, John McCain was Arizona. I love this state. I would never live anywhere else.
Deeply rooted in Arizona, 58-year-old Paul Felix remembers his father, Albert Felix.
My father was a born leader.
Albert raised him and his brother as Republican as they come.
John, my brother John, clerked for John McCain in Washington, D.C.
There as vice president for 8 years, and it's not like it was 25 years ago.
But this election, he says,
I have never been so conflicted in an election in my whole life.
Is unlike any other he's ever experienced.
The day that I did it, I voted, I was at home and feeling very anxious and like I've been feeling. And I said to myself, what do you think your father would say about this?
With his husband at his side, together they watched Cindy McCain make her announcement.
They always put their friendship and their country first.
I said, that's it. Just like the commercials now, enough is enough.
Her words and actions were just what he needed.
So I sat down and I took the pencil and I, it's just, I even turned on some music to relax me.
and voted for Joe Biden for president.
They, to me, seem like honest to good, family-valued Americans that I believe the country needs.
And like so many Republicans,
right now I don't feel like I have a party. I really don't.
This isn't necessarily a change of party. Instead, Paul sees it as a parenthesis in his Republican always voting record.
Will you go back and vote Republican in the future?
Probably. I refuse to give up. We all have to keep fighting for what's right, what's good, and what's important.
In Central Phoenix, Carla Navarrete, ABC 15 Arizona.
Carla, thank you. 10 past the hour. ABC 15, of course, is your home for the up to the minute election coverage. You can see our reporting on the biggest races in our state and how to avoid problems at the ballot box on the ABC 15 app on Roku and the streaming devices. Still ahead, it's a decision expected to save thousands of lives. The new recommendations from doctors for anybody around the age of 45.
Yes, Halloween and making sure the kiddos get out there and have some fun this year, where you can find some socially distanced fun loaded with sweet treats, and this one is free.
.13 on this Wednesday, the Pennsylvania National Guard is heading to Philadelphia following another night of unrest and looting there. The demonstrations coming in the wake of the death of Walter Wallace Jr., who was shot by police Monday night. Wallace's family says he was in the middle of a mental health crisis, but the police department says he refused to drop a knife he was holding. Today, the CEOs from Twitter, Facebook, and Google will testify before the Senate Commerce Committee. Republicans claim the companies show anti-conservative bias on their platform. Winds are expected to subside today in Southern California as crews battle wildfires there. More than 100,000 people have been forced to leave their homes, and even more are without power this morning. Officials are investigating whether electrical equipment may have sparked one of these fires.
You know, after dealing with those strong winds ourselves in our state, too, those winds won't be as strong today. Just some breezes in northern Arizona as we get into this afternoon. But it's the lack of those stronger winds and the clear skies. It's actually making for a colder start here this morning. We remain under freeze alerts across that southeastern portion of our state, both freeze warnings and hard freeze warnings through 8 o'clock here this morning as temperatures are down into the 20s and 30s in some of those areas. As you look across the state, though, you're going to notice that we're not dealing with as significant of wind chills as we were dealing with yesterday, again, because of the lack of the winds. But that doesn't mean it's not cold. It's 17 degrees right now in Flagstaff, and that's a feels like temperature, and that's a pretty cold temperature either way. So make sure that you are bundled up in the high country as temperatures sit in the teens here this morning and could still go a little bit lower before we start the warm up for the day. It's in the teens in Heber, only 18 degrees in Show Low at this hour, 28 degrees in Prescott, and 36 in Kingman. And Phoenix has dropped into the upper 40s right at 49 degrees. But look at those temperatures around the valley. I told you we'd see some 30s. Here we go. Wickenburg, you're back down 38 degrees right now. And check out the Santan Valley, 39 degrees. And this, again, a drop coming just within the last 20 minutes or so. So temperatures getting a little lower as we approach sunrise. And we could see some spots like Gilbert potentially dip down into the 30s too. We're right at 40 right now in Gilbert. It's 43 in Laveen, 46 in Peoria, and 42 in Anthem. So as you're getting ready to step outside, or maybe you've got plans to head outside a little later, of course, to take the kids into school, know that temperatures are going to be chilly enough here in the valley for at least a sweater, maybe some long sleeves to start the day. But today's actually going to be a milder day overall. So look at the warm up. We'll go from the upper 40s through 7 a.m. into the low 50s by 8 o'clock and then upper 50s by 10 a.m. We'll reach the 60s by 11. By lunchtime, a nice and cool 64 degrees, sunny, clear conditions going into this afternoon. And then our highs today make it into the 70s. So highs in the low 70s. It'll be milder, but still technically below the average high for this time of year. You see that 30-year average is 84. We're only reaching 72 today in Mesa, 72 for a high in Gilbert, and then overnight lows dipping back down into the 40s to 50s by tomorrow morning. In the West Valley, a high of 72 in Litchfield Park and in Laveen, 72 for Peoria, upper 60s today in Anthem. And as you look at those highs around the state, milder in northern Arizona too, with a high of 58 today in Flagstaff, 70 in Kingman, 76 our high today at Lake Havasu, and 45 in Show Low. So a little warmer today, but high pressure begins building in, and that's going to send our temperatures up even further. And by tomorrow, we're right back near normal with a high of 84 degrees. Still really nice on your Thursday. By Friday, gets a little warmer, upper 80s, then upper 80s for Halloween day before we see those 90s in the forecast again starting Sunday. We'll have more on your Halloween forecast in the next half hour.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
All right, thanks so much, Iris. I'm watching the roadways here for you, everybody. Good morning. I'm Chelsea Davis, and right now our Accident Law Group traffic maps don't look too shabby. We have still mostly green conditions out there, especially for the east side of town. No reported crashes right now. And State Route 347 looks better since I chatted with you about 10 minutes ago. We were seeing some delays as you're making your way southbound, but not the case anymore. And the rest of those Valley freeways on the east side looking good. North Valley, same story. Lots of green flows for all of those Valley freeways. Now, when we get over to the west side of town, we have a couple of different trouble spots. I-10 westbound near Fairway Drive. This is over through Avondale. If you plan to exit on the off-ramp there, you will still see some activity off to the right shoulder. It's not impacting the main lanes at all. However, Loop 101 southbound ramp to connect you to eastbound I-10 is very slow. It was around 20 miles per hour to go on that ramp to connect you over to near 91st Avenue. And now we're almost less than 10. We're at 11 miles per hour. So factor in some extra time connecting there. You can always use surface streets as well, like McDowell, and then hop down using 83rd Avenue to get onto I-10 eastbound. It's also going to be slow at I-17 southbound around the Durango curve. Right near 19th Avenue, the left lane is blocked for a crash, traveling around 20 miles per hour there as well. So 5 to 10 extra minutes should do you good, or you can stick to the main lanes of I-10.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the heads up there. 6:19, and new for you this morning, a panel of health experts is now recommending colon cancer screening start at age 45 and not 50. Colorectal cancer is the third leading cause of cancer death here in the U.S. Research shows it's on the rise among younger adults now. So the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force is saying this change is significant because of its influence on health insurance providers.
This is the guideline that really determines what Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurers in most cases will cover. And that will also then guide what primary care providers, family practitioners, what they will recommend their patients then to have in terms of screening.
So it's certainly something to keep our eyes on too, because health experts believe this could result in more cancer-related deaths being prevented altogether.
We know that testing, of course, is such a key part of fighting the virus and this pandemic. There's been a huge need for healthcare workers here in Arizona. This morning, Megan Thompson takes us inside one of the state's biggest testing facilities to see how they're handling and keeping up with demand.
These are the frontline workers behind the scenes, lab technicians, phlebotomists, and more. They are essential in the fight to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Employees at SonoraQuest Laboratories working hard to get you your test results in 2 days or less, so you know whether you'll need to isolate. Since March, they've performed nearly 1 million COVID-19 tests and more than 245,000 antibody tests. ABC15 Arizona going inside one of their Phoenix facilities to see how they're keeping up with demand. The lab hiring more than 200 people since March. They feel confident in where they stand now, but they are always hiring. Nearly 200 more jobs are listed on their website right now, with entry-level positions open, along with careers for those with a science background. The healthcare industry looks to be a staple during these uncertain times in our job market. So if you're looking for a career with SonoraQuest, we have the links to get you started in this story on abc15.com/rebound. I'm Megan Thompson, ABC15 Arizona.
All right, Megan, thank you. Hey, if you are looking for a socially distant way to get into the Halloween spirit, City of Phoenix is hosting a trick-or-treat drive-through event.
Yeah, the Spooky Boo-Through is happening tomorrow night at the Pecos Community Center parking lot. Decorate your car and show off your costumes for a chance to win some cool prizes.
And there are 4 different categories here. The event is free and it runs from 4 to 7 p.m.
Spooky Boo-Through. Try saying that 5 times fast.
It's cute.
Yeah, good job, guys. Trying to be creative right now. Hey, back in the early days of the pandemic, nursing homes were among the first to be hit hard by this. New this morning, some are now dealing with a shortage of personal protective equipment. All right, look at this. For the first time since 1988, the Los Angeles Dodgers have won a World Series. The celebration's happening on the field in L.A. overnight. The Dodgers beating the Tampa Bay Rays 3-1. There was some mid-game drama, though. One Dodgers player was removed from the field after the team found out he tested positive for the coronavirus.
Yeah, that's really tough considering, I mean, such a massive accomplishment. Oh, it's Tough, but hey, lots to celebrate there. Let's talk about some college football, right? The Pac-12 has announced its kickoff times for opening weekend. Every game is going to be on national TV. ASU kicking things off November 7th at 10 a.m. and they're taking on USC, followed by the Arizona Wildcats versus Utah. That's happening at 2. You can catch the Pac-12 primetime game between Stanford and Oregon here on ABC15 at 5:30, and families of players will be able to attend games this season.
Toys R Us is bringing back an old favorite to help you find the perfect holiday presents for your kids. The company relaunching its annual list of toys, which has the top 20 hot items of the year.
And of course, it includes staples like Barbie, Hot Wheels, and Legos, along with newer things like everyone's favorite fictional child, Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian.
My sister sent me a video of my 18-month-old nephew, Jack, who lives in North Phoenix, and he is dressing up as the Baby Yoda for Halloween.
How
it's the
cute.
cutest thing in the world. Hey, next at 6:30, the polls are tightening up. We know that. And Arizona is up for grabs. 4 major events today could help decide what happens in the Grand Canyon State next Tuesday.
And housing prices on the rise, record low interest rates, and more people moving into the great state of Arizona. Valley real estate might just be the hottest in the nation. We'll talk about why in a moment.